Hello, my name is Jennifer Long from Riley Blake Designs. I'm the Pattern Department Manager here, and it is my honor to be here to share with you today about Home Town Quilt designed by Lori Holt for Bee in my Bonnet. This quilt is absolutely stunning in every way. It has gorgeous cover stitches and luscious overlay. It has elements inside of all of the embellished stitches and decorative stitches, and I can't wait to share with you some of those details. I'm going to take the quilt over here and we are going to talk about just some of these excellent and fun to stitch details in this quilt. So this quilt comes in two sizes. You're going to need either a 6 by 10 stitchable area to make this wall size quilt, or you'll need an 8 by 12 stitchable area to make the larger quilt that you can see hanging behind me there. In this smaller quilt here, the blocks are identically pieced and they're identically put together, so we're going to work through on this smaller version. You can see the sashing blocks here have all of this amazing detail. There's embossed stitches and lace stitches that are there designed using Lori Holt's fabric designs to embellish what she has there already. So you can see that there is lots of detail and quality in every stitch, including the cover stitches. And these are designed there to just pick up and enhance what she has designed already. These blocks are also made in the hoop, and so there's 2 or 3 that are actually made inside one hoop, including this sew and flip technique, which I will share with you how to do today. If you move on to the blocks, there are 16 house blocks in this USB, and each of them has their own personality and character to them. Lori did an amazing job of designing and giving life to each of these blocks, and the machine embroidery team at Riley Blake Designs has pulled together all of these wonderful stitches that are really reminiscent again of these fabrics, and pulled together all of this great design to enhance and embellish her designs. You can just take a look at the sew and flip technique in this beautiful beehive block all the way into this cute bumblebee at the top and working your way through the whole quilt. There's just so much delight in each block. So the first couple things you're going to need to do to get started is you're going to need to get your Home Town USB. So it looks like this. You can pick it up at any of your favorite local or online quilt shops or machine shops, and you just grab your Home Town USB. Make sure that you do have a stitchable area of the hoop sizes that you do need, and on the back is a QR code. That QR code takes you directly to the shopping list that you can find on the Riley Blake Designs website. That has all of the fabrics and SKUs that you need for this project. You can either use the fabrics that are for her Home Town collection, or you can use the basics from the collection, or swap in anything that you would prefer. I am using Home Town, and I have already pre-cut all of the fabrics that I need here for the beehive block. So I have all of the great SKUs and they're all laid out. I'm just going to move those off to the side, and I'm going to start with the very beginning of the Home Town block. This beehive house. It's called Hoop Number 1 Beehive. And this is going to be my background, and it's going to be the same for every single house block that we do in this USB. We are going to need to have 2 different stabilizers, the heavy tearaway stabilizer, which I already have hooped and ready to go in my 6 by 10 stitchable area hoop. Then I have these 2 pieces of fabrics that are backed with this fusible interfacing. If you're wondering which interfacing and which stabilizer Riley Blake Designs recommends, on the USB, on this PDF, there is a clickable link that takes you directly to our codes and recommendations, but we're just showing them here as well. You can see what this fusible interfacing feels like on the back. The reason why we're putting this on the back of this block is to give all of these stitches stability. We just went through how much amazing detail there is in this Home Town quilt, and we want to give our blocks and this whole piece lots of stability as we put all of those luscious stitches in there. So let's begin, shall we? I'm going to move over to my machine, and I have already inserted and have the hoop 1 set up. So I have my instructions in front of me, and no matter what my machine says here, I always want to make sure that I'm following along on my instructions so that I can make sure I'm changing colors at the right time and doing any action steps that need to happen. So step one is our placement stitch, and I am going to just get started, and the placement stitch tells you where to put your fabrics, where that you're going to be placing everything. So it's a really good idea that you stitch it out. You're going to just stitch it out on your stabilizer. Perfect. And this is the grass line. Now, if you ever wonder what any of these icons mean that are in your pattern, you can just go to your pattern. I've printed mine out and put it inside one of the Bee in the Bonnet binders. And I have bookmarked this page that I am working on here. So this is my machine embroidery techniques, and I just want to take a minute and just show them to you for a second. It's a great reference tool, and I want to make sure that you are aware that it is here for you. So when you see a placement stitch or any other stitch that maybe you're not sure what to do, all of the directions for each of those are explained in greater detail here. But I'm going to walk you through some of the main ones that you're going to see on this USB. All right, so I have my placement stitch. That is step one. Step two is a stitch and flip technique. So this stitch and flip technique uses our two fabrics, our grass and our background fabric, which, as we said, are backed with our fusible interfacing. I am going to put this C fabric down first inside my hoop, and I'm going to align it with that placement line that I just stitched. So again, I'm going to just pull that out so you can see, and I'm going to put that right in line and center it on that line. Then I'm going to take my H fabric and put it right sides together right on top and make sure that it's there. If you want to here, you can washi tape it down so that it doesn't shift at all, or you can just gently put your fingers in there and just be careful so that you don't get your fingers in the machine. Then we're gonna run step number two, and this is our stitch and flip. So as you can see, when it's stitching it out, because I already have it in line with my placement stitch, it is giving a perfect seam allowance. So isn't that the beauty of machine embroidery? Those perfect seam allowances every single time. All right. Wonderful. So the machine is automatically moving into the next position, and this is a basting stitch, and this is part of that sew and flip technique. So I'm going to take this grass piece or this H fabric, and I'm going to press it over. You can finger press it down here. You can use a seam roller or anything else that you want to get it nice and flat. And again, you can washi tape it here, or you can hold it in here. We're going to use a basting stitch, which is a larger stitch, just to hold this fabric in place while we put all of that detail down. So here we go. I'm just going to hold this down, and we're going to just let it go. It's going to sew along. Now it's going to sew so nicely through this because it already has that stabilizer in there, so it's giving it lots of strength. We're just going to make sure that that stays nice and flat as it's stitching. Beautiful. Ooh, it's so fun. Isn't this great fun? Thank you, Lori Holt. Oh my goodness, so fun. All right. So this is your sew and flip technique. So wherever you see sew and flip happening, all you have to do is continue to follow the same process. So you'll just place your, do your placement line, put your fabrics in line, and then you sew it down, and then you flip it over, and it will baste it down for you. The next technique I want to teach you here is the applique technique. So this is to start with the leaves, and everything starts with this great placement stitch, so it tells you where to put your fabric. So we're on step number 4, the leaves and stems, and here we are working on the placement stitch. So you can see where that first little leaf is coming. Just going to clear my work surface a little bit so I have a bit more space. Excellent. And I'm going to put my first fabric, my fabric H, down over here. Now you can decide how much you want to use, and I know we like to save as much fabric as you want, but you do want to make sure with a tiny little applique like this that you have enough fabric to grasp it on all sides when you use your scissors, your curved scissors, to trim around it. So even though it might be tempting to go as close to it as possible, it's going to make for trimming a little bit more difficult. So just be cognitive of that when you are stitching that out. I'm going to give myself lots of room there. And I'm going to do this stitch down, and here we go with a tack down stitch. Notice how it's going around 2 times. Riley Blake does this 2 times around in that tack down stitch. It's kind of like an insurance policy. So if you go and trim one of the stitches out, that you will not have both of them trimmed out. So I'm going to bring the hoop out here, and if you want to just take a really close look at this, you will notice that there's 2 layers of stitches here. So we're going to try and get as close to that first one as possible, but don't fear if you accidentally cut that first row of stitches, there is that insurance policy behind you there. So now I'm going to take this thread, this fabric on the top, and I'm going to give it a gentle little pull, and I'm using my curved embroidery scissors. And I'm going to get as close as I can, and I'm going to rotate around so I get a nice close applique. The closer you can get, the better, because you're going to have a nice juicy cover stitch that covers this up, and you want to make sure that you don't have little bits of threads coming out. Good. So look how great that looks already. Oh, isn't this fun? Oh my goodness. Okay, so here we go. Let's put it back in. And we are going to go now to do the next placement stitch. Now you might be thinking, oh, why are we not doing another applique or cover stitch happening here? Well, you'll find out soon enough. We have a lot of the same colors happening, but Lori likes to use scrappy fabrics, which adds to the character and depth of this hometown quilt. So we're going to do as many green ones as we can first, and then we'll do all of the stitches at the same time. So here's our placement stitch. And this will be for, this is step number 6, and this is leaf number 2. Fantastic. So now we know where to place our next fabric, and this fabric is our Q fabric. Again, I don't want to be too close there. I want to have enough room, so I'm going to just give myself enough space to give a nice good grab on all of the sides. And I'm going to go ahead and start stitching that out. We've gone around twice, and there we go. Now we're going to remove it from the hoop. You will notice here when we have an action step like this, it's missing a number on the instructions, and that is intentional. Your numbers match up with your numbers on your machine so that you always know what step you are on your machine with what step you are in your patterns. These action steps have icons, and this one is a scissor icon, which is a trim step. And it explains this trim step in detail in those early instructions at the beginning of the pattern. And yeah, so here we go, nice and tight, and make sure I get all those little threads. I don't want to have any of those in my cover stitch. Oh, isn't that delicious? Okay, let's keep going. We're almost there, and then we'll get that nice reward of that cover stitch happening. Okay, so here we go. This is the cover stitch step. And it's going to start, this cover stitch is actually inclusive of also a fill stitch, and it's going to have this stem in here. So we're just going to let the machine run. This is a great time to just sort of sit back and enjoy your work. You can maybe read through some instructions, or you can just have a lot of fun watching this machine stitch out these steps. All right, you're going to notice here that from one leaf to the other, you can see how the thread continued in there between there. It's going to still do this cover stitch here. Again, a nice, beautiful embossed cover stitch. And then it's going to continue to run through there, and that's going to be inclusive of the stem. So there's no cuts that happen here. And now you can see why we had to wait for this lovely cover stitch to do both leaves at the same time. So all of this that's happening here now is a nice solid underlay stitch so that you can have a very supported stitch. So for all of this detail work that you're putting on your stitches, you want to make sure that you have enough to go underneath it to support those stitches and hold them strong. there you go. Wasn't that worth it? Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. Now, honestly, these two techniques are the techniques that you need to know in order to make this entire quilt. Isn't that fun? So I went ahead and just did a couple other step outs here that I want to show you. So you can see that I've got those leaves done. I did the same techniques here, the same applique techniques for the flower. And then the same technique that I used here, this sew and flip from the grass, is what I used for the bumblebee hive. So it's flipped over and flipped over. And it gets this wonderful dimension by that cover stitch and detail stitch that come on over it. So that is really exciting. And you can kind of see it build together and then all the way to the finished block. This is the beehive block in the 6x10 stitchable area size. It is so cute and adorable, and it's just been so much fun to stitch out. I can't just stitch one, and I know you won't be able to as well. It's such a fun project, and thank you so much for being here. Please join us at RileyBlakeDesigns.com and on our YouTube channel to see more tutorials on machine embroidery.